There's already a lot of stuff happening on the sets today. For content you may be producing, you may not be aware is even happening. So that is the natural bridge to all of this immersive technology. So for example, your cinematographers might be using in-cams on their cameras right now. You probably don't even know why they're using them. But it's a product, relatively young product, that has geospatial technology that helps sync all of the smart objects on your soundstage, for example. So lights now are becoming smart, right? Everybody's smart, everything's smart. Well, you need something.
Your home smart.
You need something that can capture that data, distribute it, and so the visual effects team in post can look and say, oh, where was the camera when, because it wasn't going to be a VFX shot. Every producer in this room knows that story, and then certainly it becomes a VFX shot. Oh my God, Well, those technologies exist. Those are the same technologies that are driving a lot of these experiences right now. So you're already intimately involved with them, even though as a producer you might not be. And all I'm saying is that there is a natural progression that is on a continuum, and I think that's important to recognize.
David?
I just want to help us. I want to say one thing. Yes, indeed, things are changing. Yes, it's a natural continuum, but our obligation as filmmakers, as producers, to deliver a narrative story that has a cathartic journey for a protagonist with obstacles, triumphs, and tragedies hasn't changed. Don't forget that.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
though.
there you go.
I don't know though. I don't know though because the
good
nature
contention
of
on it.
yeah, because I'm not sure that I'm not sure that I know. I'm not sure that that's abundantly clear though. Like that's a kind of story,
Agreed.
right?
Agreed.
And so. Is an experience a kind of story? I mean, I don't know if you've done Tree or you guys have heard of a VR experience called Tree, right? And so there are ways that we can attack learning, the transfer of knowledge and compelling narrative structures that may not be as linear as sort of beginning, middle, and end.
I totally
right?
agree.
So yeah, it's like
I agree with you that that's the sort of evolutionary component. That's
Yes.
how new forms of engagement are appearing that can have still an emotional, cathartic journey for the viewer, but they don't have to be articulated in a traditional, dramatic way. And the last thing on that is, one way you see that is pain mitigation for like cancer patients and people. You set up these remarkable, just sound-driven or landscape-driven experiences, and it can be very transportational for folks. So that's a non-traditional storytelling approach that has real value and impact given this technology.
And I think there's a good story to tell here, because you were asking earlier, where's the money being made? Studios are starting to recognize this, and not only like John and his studio, but we were in a recent meeting with a studio, and one of them brought up that they were at Sundance this past year. Did any of you go to Sundance this past year? So in the New Frontiers building, there was a huge display that was talking about something that was recently done that, Frank, you were kind of touching on, about the impact and power of VR. There are patients, Jesse, do you remember what hospital it was at? Do you remember what school it was through? Was it through Stanford? There are patients that have been paralyzed for anywhere between 5 and 13 years was the maximum. And what they did was, at this hospital, is they put them in VR, and they made it look like they were actually walking. And then they put their legs in a machine, and they had the machine move their legs like they were walking. And within 3 to 9 months, and you should look this up after this panel on your phone, these people were starting to regain feeling in their limbs, in the areas that they had never had feeling in, because their brain was rewiring their nerves around their spinal cord injury. Like that.
And that same research, the same lab at Stanford.
And also University of Texas and Johns Hopkins, there's a lot of it. And not only here, but in Europe and in Israel, they're doing some tremendous research.
But the identity stuff is amazing, too.
It's extraordinary. It's mind-blowing. It's all mind-blowing.
It's changing your behavior.
Well, and it also, it's one of these wonderful things where it's like you can be involved in saving a life. It's like there is some real amazing satisfaction. That's going on, treating burn victims and being able to help burn victims heal faster. This is all documented. Treating PTSD. Now, there's a very dark side, which I won't point to, which is it may be causing PTSD as well. And that goes to what Frank was saying, that I think there's a whole side of this, which is we're going to be able to change people's behaviors. Think about that for a second and be a little frightened and think about some of the responsibility with that. It's just one of those notes of caution that I want to bring up, because there is probably not as much research as there's a lot of positive going on. But there are some challenges here because, again, you are putting people in environments where it truly can change their behavior. So what are they witnessing? If you think about little kids and playing violent video games, think about this on steroids. So those are things I think we have to be conscious of and pay attention to as well.